Okay. So good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us this morning for this Healthy Start workshop. I'm Mariska Ribera. I'm a freelance trainer for Wandsworth Citizens Advice, who are coordinating this training for Southwest London boroughs. And the training is part of a campaign by the Greater London Authority to really spread the word, to raise awareness about this Healthy Start benefit. It's not really been taken up in London, and I'll show you some statistics in a bit. So the whole idea is to tackle food insecurity and just make sure that families who would benefit from the training or from awareness of this benefit actually do know that they're entitled to it and they can apply for it. It's quite useful to have some paper and pen, because I'm going to go through the session in sections, and at the end of each section there's a little quiz just to help with consolidating the learning. There's quite lots of details, as you can imagine, with a particular benefit. So if you haven't got any paper or pen to hand, I'll just give you a moment to grab something. The slides will be sent to you afterwards as a PDF for your reference. So please make sure that Kay has your correct email address. If you're using somebody else's laptop, just make sure she has your actual email address, because she'll send out the slides afterwards to those accurate email addresses. Okay, so this is what we're going to be covering in the next hour and a half, why it's important for us to be talking about it, who can use Healthy Start, so who's eligible to apply for it, what does it actually provide, and that's quite a specific amount of things. There's some administrative things that prospective parents need to think about and need to know about, so they can actually make sure that they get the correct entitlements at each stage. And then we'll go and look at a bit more about other resources that can be helpful. So the next few slides are really setting the context for why this benefit has come about and why it's important. There's increasing child poverty in London. The first set of statistics you can see there have come from the Childhood Trust, from a report they did in 2021. And they found that 1 in 6 families with children were in food insecurity. And by that, they just mean there wasn't enough money to make sure that all the nutritional needs of that family were being met. So that's what they meant that's what the definition of food insecurity. They also found that 1 in 6 families couldn't buy a balanced meal. So vegetables, proteins, dairy, I'm assuming they're including dairy in that. Having a full balanced range of different nutrients wasn't possible. And people were often buying quite high calorie but low nutrient type foods, convenience foods that aren't particularly cheap or nutritious. The last statistics is also from the government, that the number of children getting free school meals increased from 1 in 6 in 2015 to 1 in 4 in 2023. And that's quite startling, because the threshold for a family for their children to get free school meals is just under £7,500 a year. So the number of people who were actually living under that income level has increased. So these are sort of the information that spurred Greater London Authority to develop this programme, just to spread awareness of this benefit. And Healthy Start in itself is a benefit that's worth over £1,000 per child if it's claimed from pregnancy. In London, at the end of 2023, at the end of last year, 33% of people who could claim hadn't claimed it. And specifically in Croydon, Croydon was reflecting that sort of pan-London percentage. of the 4,138 families that were eligible, only about 2,700 actually applied. So that kind of equates to nearly 2.7.5 million pounds worth of benefit that's going unclaimed that people could be benefiting from. So that's kind of the importance of why we're doing this workshop. So I'm going to ask Kay to break us out into maybe 3 groups of 3. There's still 9. Well, there's 9 of us. So 3 groups of 3 people. Just to look at these questions, maybe get to know each other a little bit. Have you heard of Healthy Start? You might need to make a note, just jot down what these questions are. Have you heard of Healthy Start? What do you know already? What would you like to know? If there's anything that I didn't cover in that first slide, the agenda, is there anything you'd like to know that isn't on there? Has anyone already talked about Healthy Start with their service users, and how was that? And just trying to tackle some of the barriers. Is there anything that you think that's in the way of people actually applying for this benefit? Apart from obviously not knowing about it as a major one, but anything else that might be getting in the way of people claiming it? You'll have about 10 minutes in each group, slightly less probably because it's just 3 groups of 3, about 7 to 8 minutes. And then if one of you can just represent what you've talked about when we get back together in the larger group. So, Kay, can I ask you to do that? Yeah. Okay, great. I hope you had a good discussion. Now, just on question 1, can I ask, it was Ruth, you were in group 3. Who was your spokesperson, or did you not have one?
Yeah, I'm happy to go for this one.
Okay, great. Just on question 1,
Yeah.
Had you heard of Healthy Start? What did you know already?
So only one of us had heard of the program. I think they had referred someone to get support. And from their story, and yeah, maybe Ruth, you can share a bit about this. Yeah, it seemed quite straightforward. But yeah, myself and the other participant, yeah, it was our first time hearing about the program.
Right, thank you. We'll just leave it on that question for the moment. And then the next group, we're in group 2. It had the Philip's group. Philip was in that group. Just on question 1.
Well, we were saying again that we had never we heard of it, but we weren't sure if it was it wasn't that well publicized, and whether it was in every borough basically.
Okay. Okay, so not much prior knowledge in your group. Thank you.
No.
Okay. And then Shirley and Olivia's group. Had you heard of it?
That was my group. No one had heard of it, and I had only come across it last week because someone had spoken about free vitamins, and I didn't know what that was. So hence I signed up for the course today, and I'm here today. So all of the people in our group were here to learn and get some information on it because it's something we can promote to all of our service users.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, great. And was it you, Ruth, who you had referred somebody before?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
One of the practices that I cover, I was saying to the guys in my group that there's a great deal of food insecurity and deprivation. So whenever this is mentioned to service users, if they're eligible, they jump at the chance.
Absolutely. Okay, great. Great. Thank you. And this is open to anybody. Was there anything that you specifically wanted to know that didn't look like I was going to cover when we covered that first list?
No, for us, it was everything. We wanted to know everything.
Great, good. I'll crack on just a bit then. And then I'll skip number 3. Just number 4, we might touch on it a little bit later on, but apart from the fact that it's not well publicized, and maybe some of you don't know about it, do you think there might be any other reasons why people aren't applying?
We had said possibly language barriers was one of the main things that we might come across.
And the other thing I thought as well now, while everything else was going on just now, is if people are like getting support for other things, they feel I'm just being a burden on someone. I don't want to now ask anymore.
Yeah.
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 So some people feel that way.
Or they feel that they're getting a lot of support already. They couldn't possibly ask for something else.
They're asking for a lot of support and they're getting some of it, and the other is in the pipeline. So I don't want to ask anymore.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? Because they feel then they're becoming a burden to.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
And the other support might stop if they ask for more. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gita, I've never ever had that circumstance. Whenever I've mentioned the Healthy Start, honestly, people jump for it.
No, I agree. But people who've only just started claiming things may initially not even think about Healthy Start. So, and I wasn't aware of it myself. Otherwise, I would offer.
Sure.
So there we go.
Okay. Any other reasons why people might not be claiming it before we move on?
Yeah, maybe people doesn't know about, because even for myself, I'm heard this one as a first time. So that could be the main reason, maybe. Even in our community, I'm from empowering Tamil family anyway, but I never heard this one before. So if we know that this one, so we can at least, able to tell other people. But if maybe a lot of people doesn't know, maybe that is the reason.
Sure. Okay. Thank you. Let me crack on with letting you know more about it then. So the next set of slides are just going to show you who are the groups of people who are eligible. And you might want to take some notes as we go along, because there'll be a quiz at the end. So Healthy Start can be received by women from the 10th week of pregnancy and families with children aged between 0 and 3 if they meet the following eligibility criteria that I'm going to go through. Yeah. So women from the 10th week of pregnancy and families with children aged 0 to 3. And the eligibility criteria is as follows. So the first set of people are people who are on current benefits, and that's universal credit, and they have a monthly income from work of £408 or less. Yeah, so you're claiming universal credit, but your monthly income from work is £408 or less. And the other current benefit is pension credit. And there's a child addition to that pension credit. So grandparents who might be responsible for a small child under the age of 4 years old, who are getting pension credit, might be getting that child addition to their pension credit. They too will be eligible for the Healthy Benefit Start. So that's the first set of eligibility, people on current benefits. The second group of people are people who might be on what's called legacy benefits. So legacy benefits are those benefits that people can no longer apply for them, but there might be people who have been having these benefits for a number of years. So income support is a legacy benefit. income-related employment support allowance, or ESA, and then income-based job seekers allowance, JSA. These are being phased out, but that you might come across people who are still receiving them. They haven't moved across to universal credit yet. So those are the legacy benefits. And then you've also got people who are receiving child tax credit. And there's a threshold, there's an income threshold for that. They have to be earning £16,190 from work or less than that. Yeah. And they can't be getting working tax credit as well. Yeah. So there's child tax credit, annual income of up to 16,190, and they're not getting working tax credit. If they're getting working tax credit as well, then they're not eligible. Okay. The next group of people are pregnant women under the age of 18. They may not be getting universal credit while they're pregnant, but they can still claim the Healthy Start benefit. But they need to claim the universal credit once the baby's born. Otherwise, the Healthy Start benefit will stop as soon as the child's born. So once they apply for universal credit, the child's born, they can resume the Healthy Start payments. And then the fourth group are people who have no recourse to public funds. So people who have an immigration status where they have this categorization of no recourse to public funds. That little picture you see on the screen there is a picture of the back of the biometric card that people have, and it will have on there no recourse to public funds. Again, they have to have a monthly income from work of £408 or less, so the same figure as with people on universal credit. And they have to have at least one child under the age of 4 who is a British citizen. Now, for people with this immigration status, they might need to get some more advice from, let's say, a Citizens Advice Centre, just to clarify the status or the nationality status of those children. Yeah, it's not automatic that if your child is born here, they have British status. So this is an area where people might need to get additional advice to make sure that they are eligible. And the reason why this has come about is there was a challenge to the government about this, the unfairness of it. And so they extended the Healthy Start programme to people with no recourse to public funds, because those families were also in need. There is, as you'll see a little later on, for each of these categories, a different way of applying for the benefit. Did that all make sense? Any questions about that before I move on? Okay. So, anyone can call out. Which benefits can entitle people to Healthy Start?
Pregnant women under 18.
That's a category, yes, but which benefits?
Universal credit.
Universal credit.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
Or pension credit with a child element.
Pension credit with the child edition, yeah.
Legacy benefits.
The legacy benefits, can you remember which any of them are?
Income support.
Income support, yep.
ESA.
ESA and JSA, yeah. Okay. Sorry?
No, income-based job seeker. I don't know if anyone said
Yes,
that.
that's the one.
Yeah.
So universal credit, child tax credit, and then the legacy benefits, income support, ESA, JSA. Those are the benefits, yeah. What's the maximum, question 2, what's the maximum monthly income from work a family claiming universal credit can have and still be entitled?
480 or less.
Sorry, I can't
480
quite hear.
or less.
408 or less, yes. Yeah. Okay. And is this more or less than statutory maternity pay? So is that 408 per month more or less than statutory maternity pay? We weren't covering it, so, but you can have a quick look. So just to let you know, sorry, what was that?
Is that more?
No, it's actually less.
Oh,
so the healthy.
Sorry, go on. I don't.
Go ahead, Michelle.
Just looking on here, stat maternity pay is at 184
a week.
A week.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just checking I was looking at the right.
Yeah. So if you did the monthly equivalent of that, it would be more than the 408.
Right.
So the Healthy Start income threshold is less than statutory maternity pay. So a woman who was working before she had her baby and would now get SMP wouldn't be eligible for Healthy Start. Yeah, because her SMP would be higher than that 408 level. Does that make sense?
Perfect sense,
yeah. Sorry, can you please repeat that?
So a woman who was working before she had her baby, and who then goes on to get statutory maternity pay, at that £184 per week level, would not be eligible for Healthy Start.
Yeah, because her total for the month would be more than 408. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
So I trust they don't look at the savings at this stage. Am I right in understanding that, Mariska?
Yes, I've not heard anything to say that savings are taken into account.
Okay.
But universal credit, when you apply for universal credit, there is a savings.
Yeah.
There is a capital that you have to declare. So there that benefit in itself.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Okay. And then number 4, which 2 groups of people can claim Healthy Start even if not in receipt of benefits?
So a family with a child who is no more than 4 years old and he's a British citizen?
No, not quite.
No.
Say that again, sorry.
Like she's referring to the people with regarding the immigration status, they have
right.
to have at least one child under 4 that is a British citizen.
That's
and
right.
Also have a monthly income that is £408 or less.
Yeah. So people with no recourse to public funds and pregnant women under the age of 18. Okay. So we're now going to look at what people can actually get, what families can actually get from Healthy Start. So how it comes now, sorry. How it comes now, it used to be vouchers, but now people get an actual payment card. It's like a prepaid credit card that you can get. But it comes a payment card with money already on it, and it's topped up every 4 weeks. And it entitles people to buy fruit and vegetables, milk, and pulses. But it also entitles people to free vitamins. They can just show the card at certain pharmacies, at health centres, and some children's centres. So pregnant and breastfeeding women, or actual vitamins for babies and children. That's part of what you get, yeah? And in terms of the amount, pregnant women and children between the ages of 1 to 3 can get £4.25 per week. For a baby under the age of 1, they get double the amount, £8.50. Yeah. So pregnant women and then a child aged between 1 to 3 is £4.25, and a baby under the age of 1 gets £8.50. And what families can buy with that money is quite specific. And people really shouldn't try and buy things outside of these guidelines. So fruit juice is allowed as long as it's not a juice drink that has additional sugar added to it. The whole idea is to help families make healthier choices. So they've been very specific in what can be bought. Concentrated or fresh juice is okay. But as we know, a lot of these juice drinks have additional sweeteners or sugars, and aren't particularly what we want to encourage. Fruits and vegetables, whether they're fresh, frozen, or tinned, are fine. And then pulses, i.e. lentils, beans, whether they're tinned or dried, are allowed. But there can be no added ingredients. So baked beans wouldn't be permitted, even the low sugar ones, because they're sauce and there is some sugar. Yeah, but dried beans. Sorry, is that? I wasn't sure if there's a question. Oh, no. So dried beans or tinned in just water and not salt would be fine. And in a previous course, someone asked, how would they know? So every person who applies has an account. And so what they bought shows up on the account. So I don't know to what level of detail that they can see whether it was baked beans or dried beans, but certainly if they must have some level of insight into what the shopping habits are, so they can see what's being bought, and they will stop the card if people are buying things outside of the prescribed products. They can also buy cow's milk, fresh or ultra heat treated, but nothing that's flavored or condensed or sweetened or powdered. Yeah. I think lactose intolerant milk is okay. Lactose-free milk is okay, but nothing sweetened or powdered. And similarly, infant formula milk is okay, but not the products that are marketed as follow-on milks. The NHS has done their own research about these follow-on milks and have seen that there's no actual added benefit to the children's nutrition and to their health. So follow-on milks are not included. And then the free vitamins, again, pregnant women can get folic acid and vitamins C and D while to support pregnancy and breastfeeding. And then there are drops for babies and children that, again, cover vitamins A, C, and D. A lot of formula milks have added vitamins to them. So a new mum should always check with their health visitor as to whether they need to get the additional drops or not. So quiz time again. Bit of maths calculations. How much could each of these families get from Healthy Start? So for the first one, a pregnant mum with a 3-year-old child.
That would be 4.23 per person would be sort of mother getting that plus the child. Am I right in understanding that?
That's right. So it's £4.25 for mum and £4.25 for the 3-year-old child. So £8.15 total.
Right.
Does that make sense to everybody?
No, sorry. Can you explain again? Sorry.
So pregnant mum would be entitled to £4.25 per week. And then the 3-year-old child is also entitled to £4.25 a week. So together, her card would have £8.50 for the week. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes sense. So, okay. Because I had on my notes that the pregnant woman and child from 1 to 3, it's 423.
Let's go back.
425, sorry.
425, yeah.
Oops. Okay.
Yeah?
Yes.
So number 2, a family with a 3-month-old baby and a 2-year-old child. How much would they get in total?
850.
For the 3-month-old baby, and then 425 for the 2 years old.
Yep.
Okay.
So how much is that in total?
1275.
Yes.
1275. Absolutely. Absolutely. Is everyone clear? I don't want to leave anyone behind.
No, can you repeat that one? I'm getting confused because I thought it was child, including the baby.
So the 3-month-old baby,
yeah,
gets double the amount. They're under the age of 1.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
And then the 2-year-old gets 425.
Mm-hmm.
So together it's 1275. Does that make sense now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the last one, a family with a 4-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a 9-month-old baby.
Is it 1275?
It is 1275. Yeah. And there's no, bit of a trick question, there's no healthy start amount for the 4-year-old.
That'd be like £17.
No, there's no healthy start for the 4-year-old. It's between 0 and 3 years old. So as soon as the child turns 4, they're no longer eligible for healthy start.
Okay.
Yeah. Bit of a trick question. Okay. Any more questions around that?
And is that £12 per week? Or
yes.
Okay.
So because it's topped up every 4 weeks, it'll be those figures times 4 each month.
Thank you.
Yeah.
May I ask at this stage,
yes.
Does it matter when they spend, as in within that 4 weeks, how much they spend out of that payment card in one go?
Yes, there is. There are time limits. So if they, I think it's 16 weeks. I've got a slide coming up in a bit.
Right.
There is a cutoff point. If it's not spent, it will be withdrawn.
Okay.
So this next set of slides, is going to talk about how to apply. And I mentioned before that there are different application processes for the different categories of eligibility. Little unfair, but that's how they've done it. So the people on current benefits can apply for Healthy Start online. So everyone who gets universal credit, who's under that 408 threshold, and people who get child tax credit with a child under 4, because they've applied for those current benefits online, their details, their benefit details are on the DWP system. They can apply to the Healthy Start scheme online, and those 2 services, those 2 departments will match the data. Okay, so universal credit or child tax credit, people can apply online. Pregnant women who get child tax credit for a child over the age of 4 wouldn't be able to apply, can't apply online. Yeah, they're eligible, but they can't apply online. And the application online takes about 10 minutes to do. And when you get the PDF slides, you will see there's an addendum to the slides. So you'll see each page of the application so that people can see, you can see what people have to complete. But it shouldn't take very long. There are two parts of the applications, the parent's details and the child's details. And the details need to match exactly the details that are in the benefit claim as well, because the two systems are going to sync them together. So if there's any difference, it will delay the application. So the details have to exactly match, you know, birth dates, names, spelling, they really have to check. The address and everything has to be exactly matching. Otherwise, it could just delay the process. Yeah. Is there anything I have to? Okay. Also in this application phase, the date, let's see if the next slide does that. Yeah. So the due date for a pregnant woman, the due date has to be entered as well. And what happens is the Healthy Start scheme will use that date to stop the benefit. So one of the things that we'll talk about in the admin section is that it's really important for new mums, as well as everything else that they've got to contend with, have to make sure that they update the system to keep the benefit in payment. Otherwise, the due date will be used as a date to stop the benefit. It has to be updated to make sure it stays in benefit. Okay. And this screenshot is just to give you an idea of the website page that people need to go to start their application and the information that they'll need. Yeah, so this is all for people who are on universal credit or child tax credit. The next category of people are people who can apply by phone. So a pregnant woman who's got older children getting child tax credit, a pregnant woman under the age of 18, people getting pension credit, and people on these legacy benefits all have to register via phone and request an application. Now, the weird thing is, when people phone and they are directed through to the different options, they will be told to go online and apply online. They need to ignore that message and just continue waiting, and they'll be transferred to a person who will send them out the actual form. Yeah, I don't know why they do that. But if people who have to apply by phone are people who have these particular conditions or benefits. Yeah. Pregnant women under the age of 18 who are not on universal credit have to apply by phone. Pregnant women with older children over the age of 4 and getting child tax credit have to apply by phone. People on legacy benefits have to apply by phone. And that's just a screenshot there of the form that they'll be sent and the number they can call. And then, as you've guessed, people who have no recourse to public funds or no immigration status can only apply via email. They can't apply online. They can't apply by phone. They can only apply by email. It does take a little bit longer and it can be a little bit more complex, particularly if they have to show proof of the nationality of one of their children. So this is an area where people probably need to get some more legal advice from help from the Citizens Advice Centre to help them make that application. Not particularly fair, but let's see if our new government might change this and make it a little
Sorry. Does this apply for asylum seekers?
Well, it's people with no recourse to public funds. So if they have that status with that biometric card,
okay,
that's the criteria. If they're an asylum seeker but they don't have that status, then they probably aren't eligible.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So just to quickly summarize, who can apply online?
People with university credit or the child tax credit.
Absolutely, thank you. Yeah. And who cannot apply online and should start their claim with a phone call?
Women with older children that are under child tax credit, pregnant women that are under 18 that are not universal credit,
yeah,
and people in pension credit, people get the IPS, all of that, all the other legacy payment.
That's right. Absolutely. Does that make sense to everybody? Have I lost anybody? Okay. And who can only apply by requesting a different form by email?
People with no recourse to public fund.
Yeah. Okay.
Or no immigration status, it says.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so some of this is just some administrative information that you might need to keep in your head, make a reminder for yourself to remind somebody about what they need to do after the baby's born. So as I mentioned, when people apply online, for instance, and probably on the form as well, they will be asked for the due date of the baby when the baby is due to be born. That date is used to calculate an end point for that benefit. So it's really important that when the baby's born, that they update the system and let the Healthy Start, the NHS website, know, so that the baby can start now getting that higher amount of £8.50. Yeah. If for some reason the person stops receiving their qualifying benefit, so for some reason their universal credit stops or their child tax credit stops, they also have to report that change to the Healthy Start system. Yeah. So it's really important people know this and they're prepared, so that they, in all the tiredness and caring for a new baby, they actually remember, or a partner or a family member can remember to do that update for them and keep that benefit in payment at the right level. And then making sure that family gets the right benefits with a newborn baby is really important as well. Now, I know this first point is not particularly easy, but getting too long birth certificates can be a real advantage, because a parent has to claim child benefit and they'll need one of the birth certificates to do that. But you might need another birth certificate to apply for other things. So it's worth getting two. And I know they're not free, but if a family can get two, it will just save them having to wait for things to be sent back to them before they can apply for other things. That makes sense. And the key point here is that the birth certificate needs to be applied for from the borough in which the child is born, not the borough from which the parents live. So we're in Croydon now, you're working in Croydon. If a family or a mother has a baby born in St George's in Tooting, and not in Croydon Universal Hospital, but in Wandsworth in Tooting, they'll need to go to Wandsworth Registry Office for those birth certificates. Yeah. So it's the registry office in the borough where the baby was born. It's key, crucial. I'm not sure why they do that, but that's the recommendation, that's the guidance. And then obviously claim child benefit for that first child. For a first child, the application for child benefit has to be done by post. For all subsequent children, it can be done online because they're adding a child. And of course, reporting any changes in circumstances through the Universal Credit Journal. Okay. And if it's tax credits, obviously letting the HMRC know via the gateway. Yeah, the tax HMRC gateway. That's Seema. Any questions around that? It's very practical things. Okay. So what might a pregnant woman need to know to support her claim for Healthy Start?
I didn't learn anything. I didn't learn anything. What's the last thing? They said
she needs to like inform them of the child's birth date and produce the birth certificate.
The due date and
yeah,
yes,
due date, and also
yep.
when the baby is born, the birth certificate to prove. And the birth certificate has to be from the borough in which the baby is born.
Yep. And they need to get the long form birth certificate as well.
And try and get 2 copies.
Yep.
Sorry, can I just ask, does it definitely have to be 2? Because I can't remember if birth certificates now are £11.25 or something like that, which is quite a lot if you've not got a lot of money. So the fact is, if they need 2,
it's more a guidance. It's
right.
just that because they have to apply for child benefit first.
Yeah.
They'll probably need that for birth certificate for that.
Right.
And it's just a recommendation to get 2, because otherwise you might have to wait for that to be sent back to you before you can then do your Healthy Start or any other claims.
Okay, because I know in some organisations where they need to see the birth certificate due to the cost of it, they might allow the mother to take the birth certificate, they see it, and then say, like if it was a doctor's surgery, they copy it so that to prevent her from having to purchase 2.
Yeah.
So I didn't know if that was the case, that could happen.
Sure.
I'm just trying to get as much information as.
Absolutely. I mean, this is a level of detail I'm not entirely sure, because obviously it's going to depend on
the
first child. If it's a second child, if it's a second child, then it's probably okay because they can do it online.
Right.
They might be able to upload copies.
Okay.
But again, I'm not sure at what point they'll need. I mean, if people applying online, then a copy of it is fine, I would have thought.
Yeah.
It's whether when people apply by phone and have to fill in a form, whether an original needs to be sent with it or whether it can be a copy. That I'm not too clear about. I can find out.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and let you know. Copies or originals? Question to clarify. Okay. Anything else that pregnant mum needs to do? Support her claim.
Report a change of circumstance.
That's it. Either through the journal for universal
To the
credit,
journal, universal credit journal.
the government gateway if it's a tax credit.
Yeah.
Oops. Okay. How are we doing for time? Okay. Sorry. So, assuming the application goes all well, the card should arrive in the post in 1 to 2 weeks. There is a number that has to be called to activate the card, and you'd also person will be sent a PIN as well, and they have to use that PIN on the first transaction, much like you would do with a debit or credit card. They can check their balance and then reporting any lost or stolen or damaged cards on that same number. Yeah. The cards can be used anywhere that takes MasterCard. So that's supermarkets, markets, most market stallholders now that sell fruit and vegetables have the card readers. So if they accept MasterCard, they should be able to use their Healthy Start card there and local shops. And as long as wherever they're buying their food from, as long as that business is registered as a food or grocery outlet, there shouldn't be any problems with the card working there. Yeah. It can't be used online or at a cash point to withdraw cash. So people who do online shopping, it can't be used for online food shopping. And then obviously people will be buying more than just fruit and vegetables and pulses and cow's milk. So they have to sort of separate their shopping and use their card, their Healthy Start card, for those items that it can buy. And then obviously their other items they'll have to pay for with their normal means of payment. The card's topped up automatically every 4 weeks. And to answer someone's question earlier, payments have to be used within 16 weeks. Otherwise, the money will be taken back and the claim will be stopped. And as I mentioned, the claim can also be suspended if people are seen to be buying products that are not included in the scheme. And just as a reminder again of what those are: fresh fruit juice, not juice drinks, fresh frozen tinned vegetables and fruits, tinned pulses. Key thing, no added sugar, no added salt. And then cow's milk and infant formula milk. The card also entitles families to get the free vitamins, and some pharmacies, not all pharmacies in the borough will, but some will, and health centres. And then this is just a link to some of the NHS list directory of pharmacies, and literally people just have to phone through to ones near where they live to find out if they do the vitamins there. And then health visitors, again, can provide those vitamins, and those are the contact details. In some boroughs, the vitamins can be gained from children's centres, but I think when we did the training in June, there was actually a health visitor there and said actually Croydon have stopped that now. It's only via the health visitors and pharmacists because they're trying to monitor it a little more closely. So a customer tells you their card doesn't work. What might you want to check with them?
If they're buying the correct items that are allowed.
Are they buying the correct items? Yeah. You know, have they been buying different things that have triggered the card to be stopped?
If the shops take MasterCard.
If the shops take MasterCard, yeah.
If they've exceeded their balance.
Have they exceeded their balance? Yeah, they spent everything that's on there. Yeah.
Or try to use that at a cash point.
Yeah.
Check that they've activated the card.
Check that they've activated the card. Is it new? Yeah, so have they activated it? And what's the other thing they have to do if it's new?
To the PIN.
So for the first transaction, use the PIN number. Yeah. Anything else? One more that hasn't been said yet. So checking how long they've had the card. Yeah. Have they used it in the last 16 weeks? Yeah. So what to do if the application is not going too smoothly? You can get help applying online or by phone by calling this number. It's Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. There's an option for interpreters, and we'll see in a bit the different languages that are available. Generally, the number is answered quite quickly. I've called it a few times just to ask questions from previous trainings, and I've got a response quite quickly. But there's no phone support for people with no recourse to public funds. They always have to go via the email system. So, as I mentioned, for people with no recourse to public funds, they may well have to get advice from a citizens advice centre. They need proof of their status or lack of immigration status, any kind of official letters, proof that the child is British, evidence of financial situation. So once they start the application process and they know more of what's required, they can get help and support to actually complete it. And I will show you towards the end another organisation that could be useful for them. So Citizens Advice in Croydon, that's their telephone number and their contact details.
Have they started supporting this benefit?
Oh yes, this benefit is alive and active, yes.
With the Croydon Citizens Advice, yeah?
Well, any Citizens Advice. So
okay,
as it says here, it might not be answered from somebody in Croydon, but certainly Citizens Advice as an organisation are leading the awareness, or promoting the awareness of this benefit. So
okay, no, that's good to know, because I have been using Citizens Advice for other benefits.
Right.
Now that I'm aware of this one, I can use their support as well. Okay,
absolutely.
Great. Thank you.
So where can you get vitamins in Croydon?
Specific pharmacies?
Pharmacies, yeah.
Health centres. Health visitors.
That's right. That's right. The health centres and health visitors and the pharmacies. Yeah. Are there interpreters available on the Healthy Start helpline?
Yes.
Yes, there are. Yes, there are. We'll see with the languages in a bit. And which group will not be able to get help with their application from the Healthy Start helpline?
No recourse to public fund?
Yeah, they have to email. Okay. And then the next set of slides are just showing you the sorts of resources that are available. So there are posters that can put up in health centres or services in the food bank, in surgeries, in community organisations, churches, wherever in the community that families are accessing information, the libraries, if possibly they would put them up. There are posters available. Most of the resources are downloadable from the website. You can't really order printed copies. It's all downloading and printing yourself. And as you'll see from their samples on there, there are QR codes that people can scan with their phones, and it will take them to the actual Healthy Start website. There are leaflets in different languages that explain more about the scheme and how to apply. There's online messaging that people can put on their Facebook pages or their websites to promote the scheme as well. And these are the languages that are available in terms of interpretation and languages for the leaflets and posters. Okay. So let's do, Kay, are you still with us?
Yes, I'm with you.
Okay. Another breakout room. And time is quickly going, so we'll just do a very quick one, 5 minutes. Don't worry about question 1. I'd like you to just think about question 2. What emotions might someone visiting the food bank be experiencing? How can you avoid someone feeling judged or singled out when you talk about Healthy Start? So within each of your own contexts, if families, pregnant women come into where you work, what emotions might they be experiencing? How can you avoid making them feel singled out, but still want to be helpful and point out that this scheme is available to them? That's your discussion. I'm just going to give that 5 minutes. And we'll just do 2 groups.
Sorry, just 2 rooms?
2 rooms, please, yeah.
Ah, okay, 1 moment.
Okay.
Just move to other rooms. Okay, I'm opening the rooms now.
Okay. Okay, so just focusing on question 2. I didn't see which Ruth. I'm just going to pick out a name. Ruth, your group, what were some of the emotions you felt someone visiting the food bank might be experiencing?
They may be experiencing shame because they're having to go to the food bank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we also were discussing how people with no recourse to public funds and immigration status, how they may be discouraged from applying for the benefit because they have to do it by email. And obviously we can refer to the citizens' advice, but there may be language barriers that also makes the application process more complicated.
Yeah.
Sorry, can I just jump in there? With Croydon Citizens Advice Bureau, they do use language. So I think they're using language line. So then that would help the people with no recourse to public fund.
Okay. Let's stick with the emotions. Thank you. What else might someone be feeling? We've got shame, discouraged.
Right. So desperation, helplessness.
Yeah.
Stigma of going to the food bank.
Yeah.
That's what we got as part of our discussion.
Okay. So that's a lot to be carrying for somebody who needs that support, who's, feeling quite frustrated, I'd imagine. So it's important for us to be aware that that might be something that people are feeling. Another thing that was mentioned in another group was that people might come feeling very grateful that there is somewhere to go that can help them. Yeah. And then not Ruth's group. Second question, how can you avoid someone feeling judged or singled out when you talk about Healthy Start? How could you introduce it?
Okay, so guys from room 2, is it okay if I speak?
Yeah, that's fine.
Go for it.
I'll do it anyway, yeah. So those people who are walking in with children, it would be easier to break the ice by just asking about the children, if they're going to school, etc., before you talk about the Healthy Start. Yeah. So it would be easier to break into that subject via that. And same with women who are pregnant. It would be easier to ask about the pregnancy before you talk about the Healthy Start. So those are the easier two, but people without either of these two, it would be a difficult subject to approach. And this is where we thought, you know, maybe leaflets to help them think about and come back to you about it as such.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But we couldn't think of anything else other than that, unless you've got some other brilliant ideas we can use.
Well, no, it's not even you know, no brilliant ideas from me, but it's being sensitive to the situation, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's about what is appropriate at that time. So having the information around, whether it's leaflets or the posters, and maybe when there's a group of people just doing a general kind of, can I just have your attention for 2 minutes? We just want to talk about Healthy Start for people who don't know about it. That way you're not singling out anybody particularly, you're just making a group announcement. There are leaflets here, please feel free to come and talk to me individually if you'd like to. And then you kind of got it covered. Everyone knows about it at the same time and no one specifically is being singled out. So that's one way, another way of doing it. Yeah.
Sorry, Mariska, can I just say I've got another meeting that I need to attend. I thought this was finishing at 12. Is it a lot more that I'm going to miss out on?
I am a little bit behind, so yes, it's about another 5 more minutes.
Okay, yeah, I really do need to attend the meeting. So thank you. You're sending out the.
It's
me,
Michelle.
Yes, let me turn back on my camera. Yeah, it's me. I've got another meeting that I need to attend, so
okay, Michelle.
Apologies for that, but I thought it was finishing at 12.
Sure. I'll wrap up very quickly because I'm sure other people have to go. But thank you for joining us.
Thank you. It was really interesting. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, I might just quickly go through these slides quite quickly. So the communication part is quite important. If we can't do group messages, it's saying things like, oops, sorry. Have I stopped sharing?
No, we've got communicating about Healthy Start.
Oh, right. Okay, good. Okay, so let me just. So acknowledging how people are feeling if they have shared with you their difficulties. But again, as I can't remember if it was Asima who was suggesting before, striking up that conversation initially, talking about the pregnancy or when baby's due, talking about the children, how they're doing at school, to start that, breaking that ice initially, however feels comfortable for you, is important. And then you can talk about, for instance, you know, have you heard about Healthy Start? Lots of families find it helpful to know that they've got that support. Yeah. We want to make sure that everyone who's entitled to it can get it. Yeah. So I'll let you have a look at those slides when you get the PDF. And then the last section is just really thinking about other resources that you can signpost families to that might be able to give them support and information, and opportunities to network and have activities with other parents, other children. So family centres, children's centres in the borough, the libraries would be a great place. They usually have regular rhyme time, story time, art clubs, lots of places that early years children can interact. And there are 14 libraries in your borough. And then I mentioned Project 17, which is for people with no recourse to public funds. It's a national organisation, it's a helpline. And it's another way we can get support for people with no recourse to public funds to access support, access benefits, not just Healthy Start, but if they need to apply for other benefits as well. They're another resource, as well as the citizens advice centres. And their contact details are there. Are there any other organisations that you know of in the borough that you think would be useful to share with your colleagues here that I haven't mentioned? Any other local organisations that you know are operating? Are there baby banks, play groups that you know of?
I know there's one in the Shirley and West Wickham Baptist Church in Shirley, and that's a food pantry and a baby bank.
Okay, so that's Shirley Baptist Church, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. And somebody else is going to say something?
Mariska, it's Kay here. We had His Grace Evangelical Outreach, and they said that they supported with form filling. So I'm going to add that to the meeting notes, and I'll also add the Shirley Baptist Church details if I can find them. Sorry, who was the person who raised that? So just to check with you, is that Geeta?
No, it was me, Ruth.
Oh, sorry, Ruth. I knew it was one of the
okay.
subscribers. Perhaps you could just private message me, just let me know the details for that.
Yes, I do actually have a flyer. I don't have access to that until Friday when I'm over at Brim Road to practice. But if you send me an email, I'm more than happy to share that with you, because that's really helpful. And it's also got a QR code on there, so people can scan it and join the food pantry.
Excellent. Thank you for that, Ruth.
Thank you.
I have had one of my patients actually has been there when she had her second baby, and she was very, very impressed with the quality of what they had there.
Good.
Excellent.
Good. Nothing like a actual recommendation as well.
There's also Croydon Baby Zone. I'm not sure what but that is the name of them, so I'm sure I'll contact them and get their details.
Okay, thank you, Kay.
Is there anything on Simply Connect other than the Baby Zone?
His Grace is on there.
Okay.
And I say, once I've checked out this one that Ruth was mentioning, I'll make sure it is on Simply Connect.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, if you just let me know, I can add anything to Simply Connect for you.
Right.
Okay, come to the end now. Sorry, it's gone slightly over. But while the QR code is on there, you can scan to get the evaluation form. That'd be really helpful. Are there any last questions? Anything that you're unclear about, or you would just like a reminder of, or?
Just one question. The benefit itself would be for children 1 to 3, aged between 1 and 3.
Not to 3.
Not to 3, yes, but not being under, yeah. Sorry, once they're age 3, it automatically stops. Yeah. That's my understanding, yeah?
Yes, that's right.
Okay. Okay. So we need to make aware to the service users about that cutoff timing.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And the importance of updating, just so that the higher, once a baby's born, it doesn't just stop, they get that higher amount from 0 to 1.
Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've just scanned for the feedback form and it's coming back saying Food Routes Training Survey. Is that the correct one?
That's the right one, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. We will also send the link out. I'll send the link to Kate so that we can send it out as well. So for those who can't scan, I certainly have a phone that doesn't scan.
Thank you. Are we going to have more information, leaflets about it?
You'll get a copy of all these slides.
Thank you.
And then you can, the link to order to download all the posters and leaflets is actually on one of the slides. So
all right.
You can get the posters and leaflets from the website. And Kay, as Kay said, she will send all the information out with the additional information about Shirley Baptist Church and Croydon Baby Zone. So please make sure that Kay has your actual email address. If you're attending for somebody in place of somebody else, or you're using a different email address, please make sure she has that so she can get the information to you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And sorry we've gone slightly over. Thank you for taking part today.
That was useful.